again, are the people that he's talking about real people or not real people?
We want the evidence. I can claim.
He's just getting the first time.
I can claim that I met Chamisa yesterday. And I can claim that I was with Gedo CIO yesterday.
You are not understanding.
That's what give us evidence.
Again, you are not understanding. Again, you're asking me for the evidence. Why did you go to Kabako meeting and ask?
I'm asking Gambako. I'm asking Gambako and
Kabako meeting is over there.
Give us the evidence.
Okay. But Zeti, please, let's have him finish. Zeti, you seem to keep interrupting. No, please. Let Wiseman just deliver, please, uninterrupted. You have your time. You can say everything that you want, Zeti, and you can also rebut anything you can dismiss here.
I do not want to rebut.
No, but why are you disrupting Wiseman? Why? Let Wiseman finish his delivery, please. Well, what are you doing then? Can you wait so that? Are you saying the topic is very clear? The topic is very clear. What's being discussed here is the unpacking of Zimbabwe's future, factions and military coups.
No,
and a certain name
that was Kambak.
Okay, and a certain name has popped up in the ID of a gentleman called Tinashe Jonasi. So please, Wiseman. Wiseman, we might have to ask you to drop so that Zeti might ask you to drop so that Wiseman can finish. Okay, please don't disrupt him. Wiseman, give us your 2 minutes, please.
Oh, thank you. Right. What I was trying to put across was that Tinashe Jonasi was there making all these kind of claims that he's a member of the CIO. He met so and so. He was assigned to do XYZ, and he met some people in a room at the Rainbow Plaza Hotel. All that. I mean, this is high school stuff, Where's the evidence? These are very serious claims, You have to back up those claims with evidence. Why didn't you show us some evidence? Where are the audio tapes of those conversations? Because everyone can claim. I can claim, here that I was with with so and so. I was in a meeting with so and so. And we shouldn't buy into that evidence really, because people can claim, and I think Jonasi is well known. Jonasi is well known that he's a flip-flopper. Because also when people come and say things here, we also have to kind of check out their credibility. Tinashe Jonasi is known, for flip-flopping. One day he's saying that he's anti-ZANU-PF. The other, I formed my political party called Ideal Zimbabwe. And then later on he's saying I'm with ED, I'm supporting ED, and then today he was saying that he's anti-ED. Tinashe Jonasi is someone. He's like I said, in politics they call it. You could call him. He's a flip-flopper. He's someone who's trying to find a home to belong to, and I'm also shocked that he's not here to kind of to argue with us or to kind of to have a conversation with us, really, because he knows that what he's saying is what he knows that it doesn't kind of that people are going to take him to task. That's why him and Kambako ran away, because we know him and Kambako are very good friends. I think Simba was very polite to say these are social. They are. Social media activists. I don't classify them as social media activists. I classify them as people who are trying to seek recognition. So they kind of identify a topic where they think, okay, if we claim to know something about this, people are gonna listen to us. We're gonna get a following, right? Because they know that now this is the hot topic in Zimbabwe, because you know that Mnangagwa. Yeah, I'm finishing now. Because they know that Mnangagwa is kind of fighting hard to have a third term, and they know that some part of ZANU-PF, there's a function in ZANU-PF which is not supporting that. So they thought, okay, let's go and let's go and have a space on the and talk about this issue. But they don't know anything. These people, they are just a bunch of people who are seeking recognition. I learned there. Thank you, Simba, for protecting me. I appreciate it.
Guys,
thank you. Yeah, just before,
it is my turn. Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Zeti. Go ahead, Zeti. Yeah.
Because you are making mistakes here. You are
okay, yeah. Please state what those mistakes are. Disclose what those mistakes are. Don't just say mistakes.
Hold on. Yes, I'm not going to think like you. You're a journalist. You hear things. First, you do what you do when you hear things. You take everything for what it is. It is that person, what the person said. And you go step by step to confirm whether the statement, the elements of the statements are true to make the whole statement true. You do not just turn around and say it is wrong. We listen to what you are saying, Simba. We fact check it bit by bit. Did this person actually connect with this one? This one? Did my TT actually even go there? We discover he went, okay, Simba, first one, we correct. Did someone say this? Yes, correct. Therefore, everything else becomes true. What Simba is talking about is true. Why is it you do not want us to actually turn around and do that with Jonas? So that we can discover whether he is telling the truth or he's lying. What are you guys scared of? Do we know how people can say us? We do not know. Is the person that he said he was in contact with, the first contact, is it a real person? Yes or no? He did not come and say it here. Mnangagwa was here. He said, I've got an interview happening after this. He left here running.
No, he was running away
again.
He was running away. He was running away from us. Was you were going to challenge him?
Challenge who?
Jonas. And come back.
Again, you are not understanding.
No. Don't protect them, Zeti. Don't protect them, Zeti. You're protecting these people. People came to lie to us. They came here and lied to us, and then they knew that we were going to challenge them and expose them.
Again, you don't even know what you're talking about. Come back, wait. Left this platform. Mafa said, I will use the other device to listen in to what is presenting. We were connecting through Mafa's device to listen to what Kabak was saying in his platform. He was preaching us in. We could have gone to Kabak, but we did not want to go to Kabak because we cannot hear already. You are taking it as if you were speaking here because you heard it coming from Mafa's mic. This is what I'm saying. You guys just want to talk. You don't, come on, people. Hold on, hold on. I'm finishing. You were here. You were here when Kabakwe left. You were here when Mafa was turning around and saying, let me connect. You were here when sometimes it was breaking. And I said, we can't hear anything. He says, at one point he lost connection. He said, okay, let me go back and connect it. You were here. Why would we make it as if Jonas was speaking here on this platform, as if we can interact with him? Because he's trying to dumb us down here. Let's go step by step and find out whether what he's saying is true or false. Rather than telling us and making us to come down. That game of coming down, Zimbabwe is gone. We're trying to put in here education to balance up with this thing that you guys are used to. Needs to stop. If someone comes in, we take what they're saying and we fact check it. Because at the end of the day, we do not know what is true and what is not true. We don't trust none of you here anymore. So if someone says he was a CIO, therefore we take it and then double check whether he was a CIO or not. It can't be names. Go on with it. Sorry.
Right, I think Wilbert, can we hear you? Can you hear you?
He's talking, Zimbabwe, but he's talking now.
Just reconnecting here. I think there's a small challenge that the device can't be heard, so just trying to get back into the.
That is not only true with what Mnangagwa is doing. Mugabe was doing the same thing. So some of those things are true. And the chaotic system, country. I think that is what we should be looking at. Wilbert is finished.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Wilbert. I wanted to just drop just something of a hint in terms of facts here, and Zeti, just responding to you and over matters of fact.
How can you respond to me? I've not said anything.
Well, I have to, because you stated you okay. Let me say it. Let me say it, because I also I would like to help to guide this discussion as someone who daily interacts with these state security institutions, no matter which one they are. CI or let me you don't have to, but let me explain. I am giving now my input into what can easily be accessed even online. There is no CIO agent anywhere in history in Zimbabwe who has ever come out to announce that they were once a CIO and they have defected. Never. Number one, there is no military intelligence agent anywhere who has ever come out to announce that they have defected. And certainly not in the way that Tinashe Jonasi has behaved. Now, the CIO content that Tinashe Jonasi is trying to sell to the public simply because he met so and so, he talked to Isaac Moyo, he's talked to whoever, to the twins, to the Mnangagwa twins, and the like, and the like. It is not admissible at all, even at a persuasion level, that it is CIO content. It is general content that is too basic to even qualify as an imaginative component of what would be used to explain that you have been a CIO. CIOs have got agent numbers, real CIOs. What was his agent number? He has never disclosed. Now, just simply because you communicated with Isaac Moyo here and there are numerous people who I have communicated, and I communicate with people who are way higher than Isaac Moyo. I have communicated even with the agents who trained Emerson Mnangagwa. And I can tell you that the behavior of Tinashe Jonasi does not even meet the most basic standard of what a CIO agent is. The last 6 years of Mr. Tinashe Jonasi manifest that he is nothing other than a social media person who is just playing social media tricks, perhaps to while up time, perhaps to make money, or perhaps to please certain politicians. It's convenient conversation. Now, gone are the days Zimbabweans should be taken for a ride over mere talk about CIO, military intelligence, what. That's not even kids talk. Hakuna mCIO anobuda achiti ndiri muCIO kana kuti ndanga ndiri muCIO. Hakuna kana one, and certainly not in the way that Tinashe Jonasi is or could ever be. Tinashe Jonasi will never be a CIO agent. Maybe he had a dream of being one, but he will never be. It's exactly the same thing that you have someone who is running by the title of a rapist, proven rapist, court level proven rapist, and claiming that they are some special agent. You see, these people are social media activists. They are social media people. They're social media personalities who will try to lead people from one extreme emotion to the other. And the public should be aware of these people, particularly those who have got red flags, the clearest red flag. You have someone who calls themselves Didi or Daddy, and then everyone says, oh, because they're giving journalism, or because they're saying CIO, then we should just take everything that they say, or because they're exposing something. They're exposing the CIO, or they're exposing Mnangagwa. So the public needs to be protected, and also the public needs to protect itself. Let's hear from the next person here. Who's next? Right. Wiseman, Wise Up, did you, or is it Wilbert, shoot, yeah?
Simba, I wanted just to
okay, yes, go ahead.
To respond to what you said, Simba, about the conduct of secret services, because when you start, when you become a member of the secret services, there are certain sacrifices you make. There are certain things you have to, and when for someone like Jonas to make those claims and disclose whatever information he claims is at his disposal, that has got repercussions as well. That has got serious repercussions for him and as well. So I don't, and as you rightly say, I don't think, You see, when you look at people who make claims that they are so and so, us here we should be kind of maybe I wouldn't want to say intelligent, but we should be forensic enough to say to check out people, to check their background, to check their credibility, their integrity, because that matters, for some, because you need to look at that person's background, and check out what they've been like really, and I remember there was one time where he claimed that he was when in Zimbabwe, when there was kind of concerns that a number of people have been abducted in Zimbabwe. I remember his friend Kambakwe came out on social media, on Facebook, and saying, "Oh, we haven't seen Tinashe Jonasi for some time. We have some intelligence reports that he has been abducted." And these people are attention seekers. They are trying to get attention from us, and they are they can use anything to get the attention. And I agree with you, Sim, 100%. The way he's conducting himself, it's not consistent with the conduct of someone who has worked for the Secret Service. Whether it's in Zimbabwe, whether it's in America, there's a code of conduct. There's a way you're trained to kind of behave, and the way, even when you leave the service, there are certain things you are expected to do, and those things are, and especially when it comes to sharing information, which is considered to be of national security kind of matter, really, So we shouldn't. Yes, we these people can come here on social media and make claims, but we shouldn't be buying into these claims without actually thoroughly scrutinizing them, like what we do now. We shouldn't be just saying, okay, yes, he's claimed to be a CIO, so he's a CIO. No, we should check it out. We check out things. Let's scrutinize. Let's look even at his background. Does his background actually confirm the conduct of a CIO? I beg to differ. I'm one of those people who think, that these are people who come on social media. Because social media is a way of generating income. They pick on certain things, then they hope that maybe they'll get a huge following, and then they can make money out of that.
Well, thank you very much. You make me trying to remember one time, my TT was also claiming that she's a CIO. And she's very connected. She's well connected. she even meets Mnangagwa. She's been to his farm privately with a small group of people, and she's met Monica Mnangagwa and presented private requests, and what else, by the way? She has got preferential access to so many doors. But does that make her a CIO? Goodness me.
No.
She's just a social media person who's just looking for money, for stars.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for Google and YouTube and Facebook money, period. Izokuti CIO is wakumana CIO wakumana nyarayo wakumana. Tinyareyo vanhu vakadai munofanira kuvasvipa maZimbabweans because vanokushandisai. Munoshandiswa munopinzwa muma emotions. Mufunga kuti zvinhu zviri kudai. And then you're used. These people use you. And the time now, really, Tinashe Jonasi should never be given access even to talk to a village this time. Yeah. Makashandiswaga, especially those who are in South Africa, who were hoping to go back home. They lost money. Vakabirwa mari na Tinashe Jonasi vachinyepera kunzi tatenga political party. Akaita mari yakawanda mari yechina. And when he had no such agenda, come on. It's you're better off following Monzora or what's his name or Komichi or even Chabangu than Tinashe Jonasi. Who is he? Chaizo Tinashe Jonasi. Does even his village vote for him? Who talks to Tinashe? Who even thinks? And yet you folks, Murugungo Shandiswa, 6 years. It's just like right now. Journalism, and this person has got the title of a rapist. He actually tells people using a title that manipulates women, that's been proven for manipulating women, excuse me. And the person has been telling you that he's practicing journalism and winning awards, and all of a sudden he now tells you that he's starting a whole political party. And all of you are saying, oh, maybe it will help. Oh, come on. We need thinkers. I think we really need a group of people who think. And there's a challenge here that we're seeing here on social media. And I think, Divine, you can agree with me. Panevanu, there's people here who are just here on social media to confuse the masses. Am I wrong, Divine? We're just here. Kuda kungo confuse abantu, kuda kungo shandisa abantu. So, and take them into the ocean. Throw them into the desert soon after that. And just take advantage of the vulnerable masses who are yearning for change. And that's why Tinashe Jonasi, I was the first person that he contacted. Soon after, he claimed that, oh, I was in the CIO Zimbabwe. And you know what he did, by the way, Divine? Let me just narrate this. I think you should know this, Divine. I even have got a recording. I should give you the recording, right? So Tinashe Jonasi, that very day when he decided to announce that he has defected from the CIO, I was the first person that he contacted. And the first thing he says to me, Simba Chikanza, I need to talk to you. I have defected. I was in the CIO. I met Isaac Moore. I met the twins. And this while, yeah, these people, they used me. They did this, they did that. This time I've and he talked alone for over 15 minutes. And shortly before making a request. And you know what? Do you want to hear what that request was, Divine? That request was, help me to get a visa to come to UK.
Oh, wow. But if you ask me if it's possible.
No, so he wanted me to tell the British government, right, that he's a genuine CIO who has defected. Give him a and then he says, sorry?
How do you define the regime of Zimbabwe? How do we define it as a dictatorship, like you were saying, which I was debating with Zeti yesterday? Well, not really. Zeti is competitive authoritarian. But I was thinking we have moved past that now. And so when he spoke today, I kind of felt maybe we're at an authoritarian stage, maybe not dictatorship. So what do you think? Would you think it was at an authoritarian stage then? The things he's saying might as well be true, that the entire ZANU-PF is a CIO organization. It's no longer ZANU-PF.
Come on. Hold on. Divine. Let's. Why is up? What's to say something? Why is up?
Divine, I'm gonna come in there, Divine. What Tinashe Jonasi said. Divine.
Why is up? What type of government are we? Are we an authoritarian regime? Are we a dictatorship? Are we a competitive authoritarian regime? I mean, that should answer you that right there, what you're describing, if it matches up to your definition of what we are. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think we are under a government where I wouldn't say a dictatorship, because I would say we are under a government where it's you could say benevolent dictatorship. Benevolent in the sense that the government it's not 100% dictatorship. There are certain aspects where there's an element of, we say, citizen partnership, citizen participation in certain aspects of life. But then there's also aspects where there's 100% authoritarian, really, where, especially when it comes to the political space, really, the political space is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So on that basis, one is persuaded that we are kind of drifting towards a dictatorship. But at the same time, we are also under, I wouldn't say we are under a civilian dictatorship, but we are also under, we are in a combination of a civilian dictatorship and a military state as well.
So what are the qualities or the components of such a thing, that animal you are describing? Since can you describe what comes with it? In case so, you can tell me the characteristics. Then we can see the characteristics match what he's saying.
Yes, Yes. I think number one, because we are, yes, we do have a civilian government, right, which is led by the president of the country at the moment, who is E.D. Mnangagwa. I mean, it's debatable whether he was elected or not. That's debatable, but politically, he's the president of the country. So, and he's occupying that space. But at the same time, we also have got securocrats. I mean, security, which is the military, which has got. We could say that military is actually have got a lot of power, wield a lot of power in the governance of Zimbabwe. And actually, you could say the president himself is actually subservient to that, to the state, to these securocrats. So on that basis, really, I think I wouldn't say it's because people, they misconstrue dictatorship and the military, and the government under a military, under a military, which is ours really, because the military in Zimbabwe present are the ones who have the final say in the governance of the country. And
do you have the names in the military? Those who sit down and then give instructions to Mnangagwa on what to do, if that's what you are saying.
Yes, I'm talking of the military. Yes, I'm talking of I'm talking.
It's a group of people in the military. They sit down, they make all decisions, and then instruct Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa is not the powerful person that you are saying he is, right?
Yes, I think he's held hostage by the military. Military is the final say.
We know all the names of the people in the military. Who are the names that are holding hostages?
I wouldn't mention names because the military is an history.
Why it shouldn't be a problem? I mean, there's a
divide. Mamela. I think the problem in Zimbabwe, when the problem with us, when we talk of military, we think we are talking of one person. For example, we think we are talking of. We think General Sibanda is kind of, since he's the head of the military, is the one who has got the fire. No, it's an institution. General Sibanda has got a group of lieutenants, a group of. He's got a team he works with. So that team is the institution, and that team is comprised of the Central Intelligence, the police, the Air Force, the armed forces. That means the National Army. So it's an institution. It's not one person. I think that's why we always get to it. We think, General Sibanda, because he's the head of the army, he's the one who has got what to do. No, it's an institution. It's a group. It's a group of people. And there could be more than 50 people around. Who are responsible for the security and the governance of the country.
So, but you still haven't told me what are the characteristics of a quasi-dictatorship that you described? Does it involve obstruction, freedom of speech?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Infiltration? Does it include maybe the CIO taking over all institutions and converting in political parties and infiltrating them and converting the whole ZANU-PF into and swearing everybody to become a CIO? That means they have to follow that chain of command, and they can't go directly because they have to go through the CI boss, which means another way around. They created another.
I want to talk about infiltration. I want to finish that. Can I finish on infiltration? Then someone can come. Infiltration, right? I mean, people, when you talk infiltration, you talk about it. You talk as if it's a Zimbabwean thing. Infiltration is part of the intelligence. There's what is called counterintelligence. For example, in the 60s, in the United States, the FBI were so worried about the rise of the black the civil rights movement and the black the black conscious movement. They were, for example, the Malcolm X. I want to finish Malcolm X, and Malcolm X was a member of the Nation of Islam at that time. There was they were infiltrated by the FBI. And they created a conflict between Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, who was the leader of the Nation of Islam. So infiltration is part of the intelligence. Everywhere it happens in the world, wherever the part.
I think we are losing the point here. I think
no, but let
me say a point here as well.
Sure.
The point of this discussion is not so much that at the end of the evening we'll have established whether or not Tinashe was a CIO, or if he was, when did he join it, and so forth. I think that is, to me, that is neither here or there. The important thing is what I think Divine was trying to refer to there. What are some of the nuggets that he has said that we can look at and say, this is important? What are we going to do about it? Is there any possibility that it was true? And if it was true, what are we going to do about it? Take, for instance, the issue of when Mnangagwa, within a few months of rigging the 2023 elections, he started this mantra of Mnangagwa will be here 2030. I honestly think that was a typical ZANU-PF move to distract people from the fact that he had rigged the elections. And so people were now concentrating on 2030. Forget about 2030. This is an illegitimate regime. Mnangagwa has just rigged the elections. SADC, the AU, have all said these elections were flawed. And yet now we are somehow moving on as if to say he was legitimate. Let's look at 2030. No. That was, I think, an important point. And I think in this particular case, many people did not realize that point. And so we missed the trick. He has brought it up. I don't care whether he is a certified CIO or not. That point, I think, should be discussed and taken seriously, so that tomorrow we are not easily distracted again. I think that is what I would be interested to talk about more.
But I mean, the issue of Mnangagwa's legitimacy, right, Wilbert, that issue, I mean, there was opportunity, right, to challenge. There was an opportunity to challenge the results. There was an opportunity to go on a diplomatic offensive with SADC, and that opportunity is gone. And whoever was advising the opposition at that time, should take the blame, because the opposition they had an open goal. They were given a through pass to score, and the goal was so open. Then they shot over the bar. So
no. I think you are the one who's missing the point. You challenged the result on what basis? You went into those elections knowing that, for instance, there was no verified voters roll.
Yes.
That ZANU-PF was frog marching people to polling stations.
Yes.
That you did not have election agencies at all the polling stations. So you knew the elections were being rigged. You knew that you had not closed the vote rigging loopholes.
Of course.
Then you go and challenge the results on what basis? On the basis of what the results announced by ZEC? That's meaningless, because already the process has been rigged.
But you see, this is where the problem is, isn't it? Because by participating in those elections, the mere fact that they participated in the elections, right, they actually legitimized a shambolic process.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. That's where
it was lost. They played a game where the referee already decided the match.
Yeah, that is exactly the point that should have been asked. Why did the opposition continue to participate? And in this particular case, that is one of the points that I was trying to raise with Gambakwe when he was initially on this platform. Because he was trying to emphasize that up to the election of 2023, Chamisa was competent. How could he have been competent when you agreed to participate in a flawed process? And Mnangagwa himself was on his platform several times, the one saying SADC was going to send people, SADC officials. There was going to be fresh elections. I vetted for my reliable sources, etc., etc. He was lying. And now he's telling us a totally different story. I'm here to also challenge some of the things that he said. You know, this guy he has brought in, I totally agree. I think a few other people have said it on this platform, that these guys ran away. They didn't want to answer the questions because they knew some of the things that they were saying, talking about, are so far-fetched that it is absolutely meaningless.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you. I agree. I think it's always a challenge when people present and then they run away, you know, because you want to kind of want to cross-examine them, want to ask them if
missed, right? Anyone who does like what Hopo was doing to get up there on social media, claim that you want to address the nation of Zimbabwe, and yet you do not allow people to scrutinize, you don't allow the public to scrutinize you. That person is a fraudster. Because if, you know, even BMW, when they're introducing a product to you, they come into the public, they allow you to ask them questions. So it's important in the future that people realize that they need the right, the most ethical engagers. They should only allow people who respect the public. A lot of these social media personalities do not respect their audiences. And that's why they've not gone very far. That's why some of them, as we say in Shona, moto we mashanga. You see, they can win awards today, they can do this, they can appear, they can go to America. But you know what? Motoa ushiki very far. Why? Because ava respect the public. And you see, like what Divine is doing here, opening up debates, allow people to speak, allow people, don't shut them up. Right, when someone says something that is uncomfortable, right, keep quiet, let them roar, let them finish their submission. You can always come in, you can blow out, you can blow in, and that is how we build our community. If someone comes here and they're deeply ZANU-PF, I think some of you have noticed here, the reason why in my work I get the most explosive interview access, right, even with my enemies. Do you know why? Is because when they're talking, I let them speak. They know that they have a platform with me. So I think it's important for us to do that. Let us give a time only to leaders, to activists who are truly engaging the public, not wanting to control the public. Kudakuroya public. Right, just because so and so is speaking, you know. I mean, I've got to be very, very straight. I didn't like the way Wise Up, you were being hushed, you were being turned out. Someone is speaking, Munango kukata aiwaka atidaro. Whatever it is that you say here, you know, you must declare. And you know what? I'm going to share something quickly, which I shared with the government, with ED's ambassadors in 2019, when I met them at Switzerland, and they had a brief engagement with me. I told them that they would have an audience with me, an engagement, a meeting point, if they would go to Zimbabwe and kneel before the first poor person that they find on the street. Ndakatovaudza ndakati nini mukangorova masports aya ekuti you get home muchingomhara paairport pai with the first beggar that you see selling sweets, kneel down before them and talk to them straight in the eye, like you are consulting a nganga, a witch doctor, for answers. When you do that, the moment you do that, the first person who you are going to talk to looking straight in the eye is going to have all the answers you need. They're going to have all the wealth you need in this country. Did they do that? They didn't. Did I do it? Yes, I did. And I actually produced. Ndakato producer, and if you check there, there's some people who I have honored, and people have later on found out, what? This person had it. This person has got the key to this, the key to that. And that is how we build our country. When we value the next human person, no matter how high or how low, and especially if they are the lowest of society, they are the ones who vanenge vakatotakura maki enyika. So I just wanted to drop that, folks, and just say that we need to have this type of engagement. If someone comes here and we don't like their accent or their language or this and that, or maybe they're not as educated as us, let's learn to keep quiet and let them speak. And let's analyze. And you know, sometimes I don't know if you've noticed, I tend to actually write down. Sometimes I can transcribe everything that someone is saying. I think people have seen here. When for instance, Vana Hopo were speaking, I would take every word, and sometimes even when some nobodies are just speaking, I might not like you, but I would take every word, and you find that analyze even you would discover so many things in there that could even help to change an entire community. So that's what I wanted to say there. Divine.
No, that makes sense. It's good knowledge, my friend. It makes sense. You are professional at your work and you know what you do. And I appreciate you giving us more guidance on analyzing fraudulent behavior so we understand how things work. Yeah, I'm open up to also analyzing the past few days. Zayte and myself, we spoke to President Monjora. We also spoke to President Committee, Senator Committee, and they told us they squarely participated to help Mnangagwa rise to power by facilitating a coup, by working and driving the masses to the street. So that kind of bothered me. And so when everything started coming from Jonasi, and I'm making the two, and I'm realizing how much of a difficult situation Zimbabwe is at. And I realized how President Chamisa walked out of office. And then I'm saying, who's the CIO here? Is he Chamisa? Because he just, nobody does that. Or is he really suffering? Is he hijacked? So Kambako suspects that he is hijacked by ZANU-PF or either ED. But, and then he talks about other conspiracies of what he thinks, which is entertaining, and gives you some things to think about so that, you don't sleep around, at least you don't fall asleep. It makes you be alert, at least. So I don't know what you think about. I was going to ask, I was hoping you would have come to interrogate Mondora. Do you believe the opposition participated in making Mnangagwa the most powerful person in Africa now, which I think that he probably is, and getting probably 80% of the world, through lithium deals, whatever deals. I truly believe he's the most powerful person in Zimbabwe, regardless of what anyone says. I think that Chiwenga would lick his boots in order to ask for forgiveness. I think that he runs the show. He's got the kids. I think that he has, like he already said, he's got CIOs everywhere. I truly believe he's telling the truth. So I hear Jonas speaking, and I'm debating whether we are an authoritarian regime, or we are a competitive authoritarian regime, or we are moving towards dictatorship. And Zeti is so squarely defining the authoritarian competitive regime, competitive authoritarian regime, which is it fits everything. But when you read authoritarian regime, it fits again even more. You see, so and when you hear this guy now, he says it's almost quasi dictatorship. So and then I look at the way the opposition behaved after the elections, how they moved the chessboards, how they didn't fight hard, how it was just so obvious for them to try, unless there is such a stressful hijacking situation where somebody got in their bed in the middle of the night and told them what to do. You know, I mean, it has to be that you just don't have control. You exist. You know, you're just following. Something has to be in that case. If that's the case, then we are a dictatorship, right? Or I guess it's a perfected competitive regime, which is emergent of you know, after the Cold War, they had to use these two different methods to make things work. But, you know, I want to hear your take on the participation of the leaders, especially the confessions that they gave here, that they were actually looking into ways on how to subvert the constitution, which, of course, we are already in an unconstitutional state for many ways and many reasons. The constitution is violated every day, according to many analysts who speak about these things. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I just want to ask you a question, the quick one. When Gambakwe said that Chamisa will not feature until 2035 or something like that, did you believe that?
I've heard people say Chamisa is not coming back, so I've heard those things, and it just depends, because he said things that he's saying he's going to launch this, it never comes. So I don't know, but I think there's an 88% chance that he's coming back for 2020 competition, according to my analysis.
But you see, I think this is why what I've been struggling with really when I heard Jambakwe and Kambakwe and Jonas speaking. Really, I think some of the things they were saying really are out of this world. You know, it's some things we say when we were kids. You know, playing on the streets. You know, because how can someone say that Chamisa is not coming back until 2035? You know, we are talking of 11 years from now. You know, that's more than a lifetime in politics. In politics, a week is a lifetime. Anything can change. You know, because we. In Zimbabwe as it is now, there's a lot of, there are a number of variables that could happen, in the next 5 years or so. This third term, right? This third term really, is going to be, it could actually cause ZANU-PF to self-implode. Because there are some people within ZANU-PF who are not for the third term, and that could actually, and someone could emerge from ZANU the progress. Can I finish, please? Right. And someone could actually emerge from the faction which will be opposing third term as a very, very strong person, as a very progressive. Because what Zimbabweans want now really, Zimbabwe they don't care whether it's Chamisa or whether it's someone who is coming from ZANU-PF, who is very, very progressive, who is going to kind of give people hope. They'll go for that person because there's a vacuum now, really. So I think the more Chamisa stay on the terraces, the more difficult it is for him to come back. Because if someone comes from ZANU-PF and oppose the third term, and that person is seen as progressive, that person can actually be kind of can actually be the people's choice for the next elections as well. So politics is no one has got monopoly of people. The events are the ones which will decide who the people are going to follow really. Because if you look at Tsvangirai, how he made during stayaways, because at that time, that was the only option available for people to protest and identify and and see someone who was identifying with their cause. So this third term, could actually bring someone from ZANU-PF, or a group of people from ZANU-PF who could actually become an alternative for the people, really. So there's a lot that's going to happen in the next 5 years, really. So for us, if I was the one who was advising Chamisa, I would have said to Chamisa, come back now, come back for, this is the time now for you to come back and be with the people. Come back and criticize ZANU-PF's policies. Come back and offer people an alternative, really, because there's a vacuum now. Someone is going to occupy that space, and maybe when he comes back, it will be too late for him to be, because that person would have been there and established himself,
Right.
So really.
So yeah. Okay.
So Divine.
Do you believe that?
Divine, I was gonna say something. Let me finish this one, please. Then I'll end. Divine, this is your opportunity as them to occupy this vacuum.
Sorry, Wilbert, you asked me a question.
Yeah, Simba, do you believe that Teacher Misa will stay on the sabbatical until 2035?
Okay. Yeah. Do I even believe that Chamisa is on any sabbatical? I think is the question. And do I believe that Chamisa has left anything or anywhere? Some few folks, like in this case, you're saying Gambakwe is saying Chamisa will come back in 2023. Where did he go in the first place? Now, and while we're on that, I want to answer Divine. Divine, you're asking me about something. Your question was Divine. What was the question, by the way?
The participation of the opposition in the coup.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. And then you also asked me to answer you within that. Absolutely. So you asked me to answer you. So you asked me to answer you. What type of regime is it? What type of regime is it that Zimbabwe is running here? Is it a dictatorship? Is it this and that, isn't it? That was your question there. Yeah. So my findings are Zimbabwe is not even a dictatorship. Zimbabwe is a fake regime. Right. Since 1975, we need to understand there is no regime in Zimbabwe, particularly after 1980. Zimbabwe was meant to fail. Everything was meant to fail. No tree is meant to grow in Zimbabwe. The way the Rhodesians designed this was to introduce someone who is totally fake to the people, and that person would destroy everything that the black people fought for, and that person's CV was doctored so that they would appear as if they are part and parcel of the black people. So when we're talking about regime here, what type of regime is? It's not even a dictatorship. You can't even call it a dictatorship. A dictatorship is polite. There is no regime at all. And the current status, it calls for a new type of games, a new type of can I say politicking or political engagement and civic engagement that rises beyond any form of political system that is known in the textbooks or in both the textbooks and in reality. When we talk about this aspect, this issue that you also said here, CIO infiltration, what, folks, you have no idea. You folks are talking about CIOs and this and that and what Tinashe Jonas is. To me, as I said before, I see that as kids talk. The real thing that is happening, I think you noticed last year, a new term was introduced to the Zimbabwe language called mafia. Folks, you don't know what mafia is. Mafia is someone who is inside your home, in your bedroom, not even in your kitchen, but in your bedroom. Someone who is there and they've already infiltrated you and you just don't know it. And I'm going to tell you right now so that you know the kind of journalism that I do, it's state security level journalism. It's beyond mere investigative journalism. And Divine, I'm going to share with you 1 or 2 documents that I can't show in public here so people can see. And I will show you folks that when we're talking about infiltration, there are some people, some faces that you Zimbabweans have been applauding, and you didn't know that they're actually mafia. I'll give you an example. Nevas Mumba is a mafia. HH was infiltrated last year. Even HH, it's not just Chamisa, It's not just so and so. It's not even just you. Listen to me. Even the church himself was infiltrated, and he didn't know. When I flew into Zambia last year, on the 13th of August, I didn't fly on Zimai money. I was not being paid by Zimai. I was not being paid by Al Jazeera. My trip was not paid from my pockets. I was beyond state security. And I was engaged by the state security of Zambia to help them look for two people. One of them I'd found. The next person that they couldn't identify the name was in the correspondence that I had exposed was actually Nevas Mumba. 13 August, 10 days before elections, I touched down in Lusaka. I'm whisked away, not as a journalist. Understand, Zimbabweans. Because I just couldn't share it just like that. You need to know how infiltration is, how it works, how you can easily be destroyed by someone who you even assign. So I got into Zambia. I had identified the first crook, the first mafia. And the next mafia, I was being engaged by top guys. Help us, Simba. Help us find this one. And then on the 15th of August, I remember seeing an announcement that SADC had appointed Nevas Mumba. I wasn't excited because I actually knew Mumba from before as part of a religious mafia, a Pentecostal religious mafia. But I didn't know that it was even deeper. It would take me a meetup with one of the mafias on the morning of the 23rd as Zimbabweans were voting. When I then discovered that Nevas Mumba is the mafia that I had been engaged by the Zambia state security to help them find. It was so deep, it was so embarrassing, obviously, that they couldn't announce. But hear me, Zimbabweans, that's how deep. When you see someone making a move, I know Divine has also engaged me before, because Divine also experienced a bit of infiltration sometime in his private life. And he didn't know that he was infiltrated. And it wasn't easy. Divine, we don't want to talk about that other story. It wasn't easy to discover that this person who he met and he was having coffee with, or whatever drink, or whatever meal, was actually someone who had infiltrated him. That's how infiltrators are. So imagine, you folks were busy celebrating this man. You say, oh, he's exposing Mnangagwa. He has done this. That man didn't expose Mnangagwa. That man didn't. He didn't even. Do you know what he actually did? He was on a mafia mission to actually pour cold water on your future. That election, Nevas Mumba was an agent of Mnangagwa. I've got the documents here, I can show you. I've got the correspondence. You can even see, I even talked to him soon after that. And he confirmed. Do you know whose agent he was? He was Hubert Angel's agent. That same Nevas Mumba, who you folks were busy celebrating. He has been a mafia for a very long time, since 1996. But last year, he was even worse, because by the time Nevas Mumba had flown into Harare, he had already destroyed the entire election through one statement that Hubert Angel dictated to him. And Hubert Angel paid a young man called Kudzai Mutisi to write this script. And he paid him through this money through to his FNB account. If you want to see all this stuff, I can share it with you. I'm releasing it also in a book. Paid Kudzai Mutisi to write this script for Nevas Mumba and for Harry Kalaba. A script, a speech that Nevas Mumba released on video. You can check the video on Facebook. That actually nullifies any SADC statement, anything, everything and anything that SADC could ever do for the Zimbabwean people. A statement that states very clearly, and I will read, I can recite to you here. It states that President Mnangagwa must be allowed to do whatever he wants because there are sanctions. Must be allowed. This is what Nevers Mumba said. You can see the video. Because there are sanctions. Destroyed. Yeah, that's how mafia are. That's how mafia is. Sorry?
What is that got to do with the election?
That is exactly what he's saying, that he must be allowed to rig the elections because there are sanctions. Can't you get it?
Oh, okay. So it means that he's not accountable to any law.
Because there are sanctions. He's saying that there is a bigger thing here at play. The West have put sanctions.
Well, but if he does the elections okay, then they won't put sanctions, right?
No, you're not getting it. President Mnangagwa must be allowed to rig the elections. He must be allowed to do what he wants, to rig the elections, to steal gold, to steal his own gold, to send it to wherever he wants because there are sanctions. That's what Nevers Mumba said.
How much gold do you think he's stealing?
I don't know, but Nevers Mumba said so. He just said he must be allowed to do whatever he wants.
Right.
Yeah, on video. So that's how folks, and some of you're on this space, you're listening to this stuff. If you
but is it the man who wrote and exonerated the elections in favor of the people?
He had already nullified that statement. By the time he read it, everything that the SADC Observer Mission did had already been nullified by a statement that Hubert Anjo wrote for him. Saka makashandiswa to celebrate Nevers Mumba. Oh, Nevers Mumba has done this. Oh, Nevers Mumba. The guy had already poisoned your future. He already poisoned that speech. You need to go and listen to. There's a Zambian opposition politician called Kelvin Fubwe on Facebook. He stated exactly. He said, "Look, there this one was actually criticizing Hichilema, and he was saying, Hichilema, you should have gone to Zimbabwe. You should have gone to congratulate Mnangagwa because the statement that SADC did, that Nevers Mumba read out, that whole statement did not touch everything that was read out there. There was no mention of the issue of sanctions. He said it, that the SADC statement does not fix the sanctions. This was done publicly at a press conference. While you folks, Zimbabweans, you're busy celebrating. These are the basic things, the things that Zimbabweans you lose sight of.
How much gold is Mnangagwa stealing out of the country?
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to go into that, Divine, right?
About 80% all the wealth is going in his bank accounts. It's got Mutapa funds.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's huge. Hear me, it's huge. You see, so Nevers Mumba said it's okay. Mnangagwa must be allowed. He actually said President Mnangagwa must be allowed to do what he wants with the gold. And why the gold? You know why the gold? Why he was saying gold? Right. Remember, the gold is what Hubert Anjo said. The president has got 240 million gold money, right, for the elections. Right. Remember that statement?
Right.
So that's where you understand that Nevers Mumba actually destroyed your future, Zimbabweans. You folks were not following, you were not listening, you were too excitable. Just because someone comes out there like Tinashe Jonasi comes out there denouncing Mnangagwa, you just say, oh, because they are criticizing Mnangagwa, then they're part of us. Nevers Mumba is a mafia.
You think that there's a military organizing something telling Mnangagwa what to do, or Mnangagwa is making all the decisions?
You see, folks, I want to tell you something. Hear me out. I know the military are capable of doing something or doing a coup. But let me tell you something. Never underestimate the fact that Mnangagwa is above the military. Mnangagwa was never a soldier, right? And you can see that he never salutes. Have you ever seen Mnangagwa saluting even any soldier? The way Biden salutes, the way a church salutes soldiers when they salute back at him. Mnangagwa
Well,
never
did you
said,
know those who liked women were put in intelligence? Maybe that's why he
no,
wasn't
but
more.
my point is, you see, he claims he was a soldier. He claims he was trained in China when he can't even salute. This man is not a soldier. This man is a thug. You see, you need to go and check that conviction from Rhodesia, 1965. What Mnangagwa was actually convicted of had nothing to do with politics. Mnangagwa was convicted of a crime, and that crime had nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with bombing anything. Hear me. He was a thug, and he only rose to popularity inside the prisons when he intermingled with political prisoners while in prison.
I thought the narrative was he was a plant. That's a narrative.
Yes, because so no plant waka. He was a thug. By the way, let's not forget here. If you want to understand Mnangagwa's thuggery, you don't even need to do any special investigations. Listen to himself talking how his own parents described him. His own parents. His father gave him a name. Sorry, his mother gave him a name, Hlupeko. Right? His mother, his father then wanted to give him a Shona name, gave him the name Dambudzo. Right? And yeah, I mean, look, this man, that's who he was. And his sister states that he was so notorious that he poisoned me when we were kids. On video, Diana Mnangagwa says it on video that this is what he did to me, and that's why he's got a mark on his face, because I had to bite him. Yeah, that's who he is. Mnangagwa is a thug. So you understand here, when you're dealing with Mnangagwa, I must deal name soldier. I must deal name CIO. Hear me? I must deal name CIO. I must deal name CIO. Must deal name thug. Thug no operate at a higher level than you. Sorry, yeah,
yeah. Just to come back to the Nevers, Mumba and Nkiri. What most of ordinary Zimbabweans out there accept is the SADC report that said those elections were not free, fair, and credible. So are you saying there is another report that people don't know?
Okay, what I'm saying, Wilbert, is whatever that was, it did not scratch the surface.
But that is the public report.
Wilbert,
so people can only go with what is on the public domain.
Okay, Wilbert, whatever that is, there is a higher bar. Okay, there's a bar, there's a line that report did not cross. That report should have discredited the sanctions talk that Nevers Mumba had laid in the way. That stumbling, that you see, what I'm saying is, you have a higher law that is above SADC. This whole thing about sanctions, Nevers Mumba had himself, by the way, had announced that Mnangagwa must be allowed, President Mnangagwa must be allowed to do anything that he wants because there are sanctions. On the 4th of April, 2023. May, June, July, August, 4 months later, the same Nevers Mumba. Right?
On that point, I totally agree with you, because I think you and me, I think we discussed it on ZimI. ANC party resolution 2022, when they were saying that they were not going to allow regime change in Zimbabwe because of their sanctions. And this is what the Secretary General of ANC said. So on that point, I would agree with you that the way, I don't know about Zambia, but I definitely know ANC way of the view that Mnangagwa should be allowed to rig the elections because there are sanctions.
So if you're going to analyze, now the elections, the election environment, okay, the conditions under which people are voting, and you do not present evidence to discredit that sanctions talk, you've done absolutely nothing, especially when you are the very same one who has made that ruling yourself with your own mouth, that Mnangagwa must be allowed to do what he wants. Basically, what you have done is to lead the Zimbabwe, make the Zimbabwe people take a step forward and then take 5 steps behind. Apana zvawaita. Uri kungoda kungoita nyembe, iwe kungowana nyembe, but iwo watodestroy future yevana vaZimbabwe.
But the point still remains that in this particular case, what is on the public domain is an election condemning those election processes as flawed.
If it does not discredit the sanctions talk, Wilbert, it has not condemned. In reality,
how does that involve elections? You are an election.
Wilbert, hear me. Wilbert, that report criticized Mnangagwa over violence. Do you agree? Over electoral violence.
The election process, as part of the election process.
Yes, but do you agree? But it did not address the criticism that Mnangagwa has against the West, who he accuses of using violence on him using sanctions. It did not touch. So what I'm saying is,
that point can be made just as much as ANC made that point. But
it's not just ANC, Wilbert. Wilbert, you're using ANC. Mumba himself said.
Let me finish the point. The point there is, as much as the West imposed these sanctions on the Zimbabwe government, what has that got to do to my aunt and uncle in the rural areas? What have they got to do with the sanctions? What have they got to do with what the West decided to do? Why should they be denied their fundamental right to a meaningful vote because the West has imposed sanctions on ZANU-PF?
But that is
that matter. The other argument that should be said, we would expect ANC particularly to be aware of, is that ZANU-PF has been rigging elections since 1980, before the sanctions were imposed. So what are we talking about here? That whole argument of sanctions is, to me, as far as I am concerned, just a feeble excuse by some of the African leaders who wanted to prop up ZANU-PF, particularly ANC in South Africa. And
in this case, Wilbert, it's a feeble excuse by Nevas Mumba himself. You folks are criticized Mnangagwa when he didn't actually, and what he did was the opposite. And you just don't want to put your finger on the fact that Mumba did not criticize Mnangagwa. Mumba pretended to be criticizing Mnangagwa when he was actually empowering Mnangagwa.
On that point, I'm not saying I was aware of Nevas Mumba's saying that Mnangagwa should be allowed to rig the elections because there are sanctions. I'm not aware of it. But even if I am aware of it, the fact that the election report focuses on the irregularities in the electoral process, and that was condemned, and Nevas Mumba was the chairperson of the election commission, of that election observer team, I give him credit for that. He may not have wanted it to have come out critical, but the fact of the matter is that report is critical.
Wilbert, the electoral process, according to Mumba, involves putting sanctions on people so that people vote against Mnangagwa. That is the electoral process. As long as you do not explain that very same statement there, or you don't remove it, what you have done there is not at all criticizing Mnangagwa. You have actually insulated Mnangagwa from ever being criticized. Because you've come there, you are appearing. Hold on. You're appearing.
The report is very clear. I've got it here in front of me. Conclusion.
I've lost you. Is it me who's lost you?
I think he's looking for it.
Okay.
So
Let him get the report. That report does not criticize Mnangagwa. That report actually insulates. It covers up for Mnangagwa. It appears as if it's criticizing him. Yeah.
You still haven't answered my question, though.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm hoping. Okay. What was your question, by the way?
The coup and the leaders of the opposition. How much involvement do you know? And what was your participation?
Okay, no, myself, I can tell you my broadcasts are still public, so you can actually go to them. I was very clear when people were celebrating in 2017 on the 15th, 14th, 15th, 16th. I actually stated there that people, instead of drinking beer, they need to go into the libraries and they need to understand, they need to study what a coup is. And Wilbert was one of our panelists back then. Victor Matemadanda was one of our panelists there. And Dr. Nkululeko Sibanda, Temba Mliso, and the like. And these are the things that we actually exposed. That this is what the coup and what some of the MDC people, including this gentleman who is now an ambassador, James Maridadi, and the like, were announcing there. That was suicide when they decided to go.
Wait, you're rushing. I don't know what's the rush. What did Maridadi do? Because he was mentioned by Komichi that he was
Maridadi was one of the spokesmen. Are you forgetting Maridadi was Maridadi was an important was the face of the had a position in the opposition in parliament at that time. Don't forget, Maridadi is a journalist, and Maridadi was also at one time Morgan Tsvangirai's spokesman. So he was an important figure, and he came out right at the parliament entrance. Hold on, Divine. He came out at parliament entrance and he started making these statements to support the coup. And of course, you know, the later participation of him inside Emmerson Mnangagwa's government was no surprise. It just showed that he was already an infiltrator. Had been an infiltrator way before. It was suicide. And I remember even Nkululeko Sibanda is one of those people who was criticizing that such moves by the opposition to endorse the removal of Robert Mugabe and usher in Emmerson Mnangagwa. I mean, it was utterly disastrous. But once again, as I speak, I'm touching on what I've been relaying earlier on. I think I've lost this gentleman here. My apologies, folks. I'm going to try and come back. I've just been cut off there. My apologies. We're on Twitter Space and we're on Zem.
This is Zemi Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot. This is Zemi Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot. This is Zemi Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda kubva 1980 toda kukutaurira kubva 1980 kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980 ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. The information he actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980 akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje kuti muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu, budai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Makosi, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator, he is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazobhuta panapa wazviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobhetina vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where resource. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundobva ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda mugovernment muna 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even ivo vakuru vacho ngvari majera nanyakuti namuzinda vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa is one of them.
Vakapera kufa. Kumiti Emerson vakapuriswa mujeri according to the history and Senate. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuita Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvavakazosiyana nagama toxin nanachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority okuti titonge asakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikuudze, akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje kuti muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu, budai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Makosi, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator, he is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapa wachita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobhetora vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambutuona were isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundobva ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda mugovernment muna 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even ivo vakuru vacho ngvari majera ananyagumuna namuzinda vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson vakapuriswa mujeri according to the history yandosemeka. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuita Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga wedeclaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvavakazosiyana nagama toxin anachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we do not end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndovangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira nobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. I said, don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapa wachita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobhetora vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambutuona were isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundobva ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda mugovernment muna 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even ivo vakuru vacho ngvari majera ananyagumuna namuzinda vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson vakapuriswa mujeri according to the history yandosemeka. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuita Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga wedeclaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvavakazosiyana nagama toxin anachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we do not end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu, udai imimi president naNyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndovangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyo.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazobhuta panapo zviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vaMugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuapa nyembe dzehorobhetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be this ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where resource. Makaisirwa kumberi kweMugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhunda but ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one of mukutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrain masizvo. Even though vakuru vacho ngari majera ananyatogona namuzinda vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson wakabudiswa mujeri according to the history and document. Vabudiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuti Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kufunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo. Akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvavakazorana nagama toxin energy mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatwiza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Takatadza kuwana majority okuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu, udai imimi president naNyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndovangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapo zviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka ndi vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehoroveterana vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be this ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where Jesus. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zvesho wakandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhondo but ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one who mutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even though vakuru vacho ngari majera ananya kuti bona namzinda vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa kumiti Emerson vakaburiswa mujeri according to the history ndozeneka vaburiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti vaita law vakazotorwa kufuta Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kufunda. When the war finished pavakanopedzisa hondo comrade Mugabe vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema-tema vese zvavakazivana nagamatoxin anachi mafunction asingapera akapedza kuvatwiza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuuraiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuuraiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president naNyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ovakoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira nobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapo zviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka ndi vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehoroveterana vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be this ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where Jesus. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zvesho wakandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhondo but ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one who mutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even though vakuru vacho ngari majera ananya kuti bona namzinda vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Kumiti Emerson vakaburiswa mujeri according to the history ndozeneka. Vaburiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti vaita law vakazotorwa kufuta Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kufunda. When the war finished pavakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza for Mnangagwa declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema wese zvaakazivana nagamatoxi nanachi mafunction asingapera akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge asakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president nanyagumbo nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. I said, don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator, he is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota pana kuzvita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vaMugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobhetina vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be this ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotoona where Jesus. Makaisirwa kumberi kweMugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundobva ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda muGovernment in 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even though vakuru vacho ngvari majera ananyakumbona namuzinga vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson akapuriswa mujeri according to the history and Senate. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuti Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza for Mnangagwa declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema wese zvaakazivana nagamatoxi nanachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge asakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president nanyagumbo nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka kumusha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazobhuta pana kuzoita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuapa nyembe dzehobhovhetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundova ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one of mukutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrain masiso. Even though vakuru vacho ngari majera ananya kuti muna namzinda vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izono
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson akapuriswa mujeri according to the history and CNN. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuita Mugabe akubvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema wese zvaakazosiyana nagamatoxin anachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatwiza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Unofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Dine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president naNyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka kumusha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazobhuta pana kuzoita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuapa nyembe dzehobhovhetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhondo but ndio the richest of them. Because the comrade one of Mukutoda Zakashkopina Mugabe in 1980, akatrain Masisu. Even though Makuru Chongoro Majera and Yamuna Zina, very good.
Emerson Mnangagwa is one of them.
Zakapera Kufa. Commit Emerson Okapus come jail, according to the history and the Senate. Babus come jail, Vanakusho took care of Patch, Vakashkutanga with a law and it. Right and law, Vakas talk of Mugabe at the Salamo Visanga. When the war finished, Bobakano Pizza Sao. Commit Mugabe. Vano wakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema wese akazana nagama tokusina nachi mafunction asingapera akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Unofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Did the information yakawanda yandiroziva? He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president Nanyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota pana kuzviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehobhovetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotoona were isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhondo but ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one of Mukutoda Zakashkopina Mugabe in 1980 akatrain Masisu. Even though Makuru Chongoro Majera and Yamuna Zina, very good.
Emerson Mnangagwa is one of them.
Zakapera Kufa. Commit Emerson Okapus come jail, according to the history and the Senate. Babus come jail, Vanakusho took care of Patch, Vakashkutanga with a law and it. Right and law, Vakas talk of Mugabe at the Salamo Visanga. When the war finished, Bobakano Pizza Commit Mugabe. Vano wakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema wese akazana nagama tokusina nachi mafunction asingapera akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Unofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Did the information yakawanda yandiroziva? He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikuudze, akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuuraiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muri kuda kuuraiwa nevarungu, budai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi, Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda, hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati, I said, don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Makosi, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapa wazviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobheti vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotoona were isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwemugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhuromba ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda mugavheni muna 1980 akatrainwa sizvo. Even ivo vakuru vacho ngvari majera naNyagumbu naMuzinda vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa izvano
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson vakaburiswa mujeri according to the history yandosenenda. Vaburiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati, vakasvikotanga kuita law. Handiti vaita law vakazotorwa futi naMugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachibva kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe, vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga wedeclaration chititungamirira pahondo, akanga apedza kuvatema wese zvavakazosiyana nagama toxin nanachi mafunction asingapera, akapedza kuvatriza vese kuti tanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwa na majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasa, dandiri election agent ya president.
Munofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Dine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikuudze, akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuuraiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muri kuda kuuraiwa nevarungu, budai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi, Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaongoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira, ndobva tangoenda, hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka, and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvikati, I said, don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Makosi, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu iyeyo.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapa uchiita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehobhovhetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where resource. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhunda but ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one of mukutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even though vakuru vacho ngvari majera nanyakubona namuzinda vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izvano
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson vakapuriswa mujeri according to the history ndosemeka. Vapuriswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuti Mugabe aripisa vamwe vese vanga vachirwa kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvaakazosiyana nagama toxin anachii mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatreza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwa na majority kuti titonge atakaramba tirimo.
No.
Munofanira kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president naNyagumbu Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndovangoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira nobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka kumusha. Zvikati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator.
How even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
I don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up. I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So they says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. Yes. Kuwa kunzani.
Takanunzi mfano amene kuti mfana we ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandiudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mtara we mberi kwandandakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwahuri benzi wanga wachidza zvose tikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza benzi iri ndamutini idla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspires with his bullying club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nyika inova kwanerenewa.
No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. Two women.
And
Or even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Super. Don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up. I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother, who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So they says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. My mother said, yes, 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 yes. Kuwa kunzani.
Takanunzi mfana amene kuti mfana wei ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandiudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mutara mberi kwandani ndakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwavo ribenzi wanga wachidza zvose ndikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza benzi iri ndamutini idla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspires with his bullying club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nyika inova kwanevenewa.
No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even My own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
Now, even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Super. Don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, "Oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up." I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother, who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So they says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. Yes. Kuwa kunzani.
Takanunzi mfano amene kuti mfana we ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandiudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mutara we mberi kwandani ndakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwavo.
No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later, I changed it to Emerson without permission. 'Cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
Now, even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up. I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother, who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So they says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. My mother said, yes. Kuwa kunzani.
Takanunzi mfana amene kuti mfana we ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandibudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kanangakaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mutara we mberi kwandani ndakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwavo ribenzi wanga wachidza zvose tikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza benzi iri ndamutini idla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspired with his Bullingdon Club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nyika inova kwanerenewa.
No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no crime. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. Now, even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Super. Don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up. I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So the teacher says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. My mother said, yes, 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 yes.
Takanunzi mfana amene kuti mfana we ndokundikandira mberi kwandai ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandibudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mtara we mberi kwandai ndakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwavo ribenzi wanga wachidza zvose tikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza benzi iri ndamuti nidla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspires with his Wellington Club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nyika inova kwanerenewa.
No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Mnangagwa along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission. 'Cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no cry. No sunshine, no cry. No sunshine, no cry. No sunshine, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Slupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
Unofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. Kubva 1980. Toda kukutaurira kubva 1980. Kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Dine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikudze akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Udai imimi president Nanyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobva okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanzi hatina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. I said, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazobhuta panapo zviita sei. Makomuredzi ereka ndi vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehobhovhetera vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be this ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotuona where Jesus. Makaisirwa kumberi kwenyu Mugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zvishoo kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhondo but ndo the richest of them. He was the comrade one of mukutaura dzakasvikopinda Mugabe in 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even though vakuru vacho ngari majera ananyagumuna namzina vari kupi.
Emerson Mnangagwa izvano
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson vakaburiswa mujeri according to the history ndozeneta. Vaburiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kufanira Mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachirwa kufunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga declaration chititungamirira pahondo. Akanga apedza kuvatema-tema vese zvavakazivana nagamatoxin anachi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we don't have to end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Takatadza kuwana majority kuti titonge asakaramba tirimo. Dr. Bamtasi, dandiri election agent ya president.
Unofana kuziva semaZimbabweans. Pane nyaya dzatinoziva dzakaitika dzakawanda. kubva 1980 toda kukutaurira kubva 1980 kuti munhu uyu anonzi Mnangagwa akanga achida kutoita coup in 1980. Ndikutaurira zvandinoziva. I'm in a privileged position. Ndine information yakawanda yandinoziva. He actually wanted to wrestle power from the president. Regai ndikuudze, akaudza ma-elections aitwa muna April 1980. Akati izvo president muri kuda kuurayiwa nevarungu. Anga arunga izvozvo nevarungu manje. Kuti muda kuurayiwa nevarungu, budai imimi president naNyagumbo Nangala muende kuMozambique. Saka president pavakaenda ndokunoudza Samora kuti ndozviri kuitika zvikanzi Robert, you must go home now. President ndobvaakoti okay, regai tiende kuna Nyerere tinomutaurira ndobva tangoenda hanga tina kuzotaura nyaya iyoyo. Tikangoona kuti ma-elections akafamba zvakanaka and then ndobva tadzokera kuMozambique. Hanzi pandikasvika kuMozambique ndokufonera Mnangagwa kuti ndiri kuda kudzoka musha. Zvinati I said don't come back, don't come back. Achida kuti kuita coup. So munhu uyu agara aine pfungwa idzodzo kubva kare kare. Marcosin, that man, let me tell you, he is a liquidator. Go and look up liquidator. He is a ravisher. You know what I mean? He is a liquidator. He is a ravisher. Go and look up what it means. Haite munhu yeyu.
Saka ndida kuzoti makomuredzi aya ari kunzi aenda achinocheka maoko epovha kuti wazogota panapa wachita sei. Makomuredzi ereka kuti vanhu vamugabe vakatora kubva kwaSmith mamercenaries akuvapa nyembe dzehorobveterana vachiipisa identity yedu. So that's one other thing. We are working on our identity. We are not trained to be these ugly evil people that the whole nation now thinks that we are. Makambotoona were isusu. Makaisirwa kumberi kwemugabe wanted people who could support his personality cult. Vanhu vanofa vakamutenda kuti zveshow kandibvisa anachiyango tesinawo kuhundobva ndio the richest of them. He was the comrade one wamukutaura dzakasvikopinda mugabheni muna 1980 akatrainwa sesu. Even ivo vakuru vacho ngvari majera naNyagumbo naMuzinga vari kupi?
Emerson Mnangagwa izvano
vakapera kufa. Comrade Emerson akaburiswa mujeri according to the history yandosemeka. Vaburiswa mujeri havana kusvika kudzokera kupati vakasvikotanga kuita law handiti. Vaita law vakazotorwa kuchina mugabe abvisa vamwe vese vanga vachirwa kunda. When the war finished, vakanopedzisa hondo Comrade Mugabe. Vanhu vakavasarudza kumuganga wedeclaration chititungamirira pahondo. Akanga apedza kuvatema vese zvavakazosiyana nagama toxin ana chi mafunction asingapera. Akapedza kuvatriza vese kutanzi vapanduka. You know, we do not end up telling the truth, but I think the youth deserves to know the truth.
Ya takatadza kuwa na majority kuti titonge.
Or even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Super. I don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up. I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So they says, Emerson, stand up, pointing at me. Then I stood up. Yesu. Kuwa kunzani.
Takanunzi mfano amene kuti mfana we ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandibudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mutara we mberi kwandandakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwahuri benzi wanga wachidza zvose tikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza benzi iri ndamutini idla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspires with his bullying club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nyika inova kwanerenewa.
No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. two women.
And
no sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to Nambudzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women.
And
no sanctions, no crime. Or even the RBZ says there are no sanctions at all.
Super. Don't use it. No, this is history. Don't use it. But then my father translated it to Dambudzo. That's why I'm called Dambudzo. But of course, later on when I went to school, I went to a library. I didn't like the word Dambudzo. So I read a book, and in that book there was Emerson. Then I changed my name to Emerson from Dambudzo. So in the 40s, when we went to school, results will be announced on a weekend. My parents are nowhere. So the teacher, class by class, will announce the results. But at home, I was called Dambudzo. At school, Emerson, because I never told the parents that I had changed. So my father was not there. My mother went with me to school. So the teacher says, "Oh, Emerson did very well in arithmetic and English. Stand up." I couldn't stand up because I was sitting with my mother, who knows I was Dambudzo, not Emerson. So the teacher says, "Emerson, stand up," pointing at me. Then I stood up. My mother said, yes. Kuwakunzani.
Takanunzi mfano amene kuti mfana wei ndokundikandira mberi kwandani ndiri kanzi mfana ila mshonga wenyoka uyu ini ndokutora avachandibudzi kuti unodla wakawanda sei nitore kananga kaya kamuromo chitsenga kunosvika kubuda road mtara we mberi kwandandakatungamira handina kuzobudisa rurimi gwazvimba kudai ivo vafa nokuseka kwavo ribenzi wanga wachidza zvose tikati hamuna kundiudza ni rurimi gwazvimba taenda kumba manje koma muitei mwana kwanza abenzi iri ndamutini idla mushonga wenyoka iye ndokudla kananga kosi vafa nokuseka
1990, Johnson conspires with his bullying club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this.
Our children who are 23 years old do not know anything except Nyika, Yede Zimbabwe, Nama sanctions I say that philosophy because when we are gone, the younger generation should understand that whether they are put under sanctions of any kind, whatever kind of constraint on our country, they should believe that Nika inovakwa nevenewa.
No sanctions, no crime. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her. Two women. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. No sanctions, no cry. When I remember when I used to be called Lupeko, and then later they changed it to N Nambuzo along the way. Sometime later I changed it to Emerson without permission, 'cause my own mother put sanctions on me. Even my own sister, she beat me up when I had poisoned her.
Two women! Two women! This is Zimbabwe Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot. This is Zimbabwe Media, broadcasting all around the world, on the spot, on the dot.